visitors, friends, officers, and those who just came out to say, let's we go to a Black History program since it's the end of the month. I would go back through the history of why we celebrate Black history, but my classmate, I want to say a schoolmate, because I am older than Miriam, has already covered that in reference to Carter G. Woodson. But I want you young people to remember that name, Carter G. Woodson. That is the reason why we have celebrate Black History Month in this country. His association, his association is entitled The Study of African American Life and History. They present a program a conference every year. They also select the theme for Black History Month. The theme for this year is civil rights. And how appropriate that you would actually have Martin Luther King as the topic based on your presentations. Dr. King, for many of you, actually did not volunteer to be in the civil rights movement. He was volunteered. And that sometimes happens to you. You know, you'll be sitting, someone will think that you should be able to do something, and they select you. Many of you were selected today, and you've done a wonderful job, okay? The more times that you are selected, the better you get at what you do. Never ever stand back on presentations, because when you get into a classroom with people of different backgrounds, cultures, races, you need to be able to stand tall and proud. You should know exactly what you're talking about at all times. Okay? It's okay to be smart. It's okay.
It's okay.
And I'm saying that because I was raised on Casita Road, down from E. Candy. You don't know where this Candy Housing Project is. Okay? But I didn't come out of a rich, affluent neighborhood. My parents were not doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs. But guess what? We heard about Dr. King and what was going on in Montgomery. People were tired of sitting on the back of the bus. Something that you all can't even imagine. You're sitting someplace. A white person gets on. You have to get up. So they can sit. Because they were first-class citizens, and we were second-class citizens. And without the support of the government, the United States Constitution tells us that all men in this country are created equal, all humans, all people, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, which are among those life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But as you young people notice what happened in Florida recently, a young man's life was taken without any justice. And the only thing people are doing now in this country is sitting back and saying, During the 60s, we couldn't sit back and say, You know why? Because we were the victims of racism on a daily basis. Not one day, but every day. They told us that we were different. We were treated differently. That were black and white facilities. See, you all can't even imagine seeing an old black woman having to have to use the bathroom restroom and not be able to go in it because it said for white women only. Then she had to be publicly embarrassed. Even possibly urinating on herself in public. And sometimes you all need to hear these things because you weren't there to visually see it. But you can't even imagine the pain. I attended the Negro schools in Columbus. They said it was separate but equal. We were separate but never equal. We never got new textbooks. We had to get used books that white people had already read. And when they got in such condition, they didn't want them anymore. They sent them to the Negro school.
Yes, they did.
And then we had to unwrap those boxes as if with pride, as if we had just received gifts from God.
Yes.
We didn't have a library. There was no library in Columbus for Negroes until 1954.
Yes, it was.
The Emancipation Proclamation was signed officially in 1865? The first one was 1863, and the final one that freed everyone was 1865. Okay, I was in school before 1965, which means that I was a victim.
All right.
So I had to have a dream.
All right.
I had to dream myself off Casino Road. I had to dream of myself through Marshall Middle School, which was Spencer Junior High, and at one time was the original Spencer High School on 10th Avenue in Columbus.
Amen.
Now, one of the things that they've done, and I'm saying they, but people don't do anything unless you allow them to. All of the visual icons of black progress in the city of Columbus have almost basically been removed. You have no historical monuments. The first high school torn down. But Columbus High burned and was totally refurbished. Sometimes we need to look at what happens. They say that people will do anything they want to you. No, they won't. They'll do what you allow them to. I am always surprised when I see nothing being done. We've come so far to go nowhere. Young people need to be taught how to live in America so that they can exercise the freedom.
All right.
The churches, I hate to put this on you all. If the churches don't start, if the schools back in the churches, we are lost. Because you cannot expect the dominant race to teach you about yourself to free you. I am always pushing churches to go back to the time when we had schools in the churches. See, they didn't teach black history when I was growing up. They didn't teach us anything about being black. Except the fact that we had no history and we were nobody. Now, what did I hear about Langston Hughes and Dunbar? It was at my church. Miss Ida Mae Tinsley had the Black History book. And every year, she would give all the children, young people, a poem out of the book. So when people did Langston Hughes poems, what happens to a dream deferred, people want to know where we get that from. But see, when you know something and you have to deal with rote memory, and you repeat it over and over, it becomes part of you, it becomes a part of your system. You know, what happens to a dream deferred? Does it fester in the sun? Should you have to put off your dreams? No. But you got to work in this country to be somebody. You got a definition. Education is going to be the key. I keep telling people that if you want change in a community, you got to educate your people in a way so that they can experience and understand that they are people and that they are equal to all other people. Children have to be taught things about their ancestors. Black history classes are not a part of the public school system in Columbus, Georgia. Chinese history is not a part. Japanese history, let's go on and on. It's European. A history instructor once told me they could teach history all day and never mention a black person. That's true. You can teach American history all day. You know why? Because the books don't have us in there. Now, if you all were taking notes, now I'm going to know you're not taking notes, but if you were, I'm going to give you some book titles. I want you to look at Free People of Color by Dr. Portman, Early Negro Writings by Dorothy Porter, Up from Slavery, Booker T. Washington. I'm going to cover that over the whole list. Souls of Black Folks by W.E.B. Du Bois. Guess what? Most of these books are online. You don't even have to buy them. If you have internet, Up from Slavery is online. The Souls of Black Folks, online. But what greater readings than to read the works of W.E.B. Du Bois, of Booker T. Washington? A man who left a legacy. He constructed a school from the ground up. Not for everyone, he said, but for those that were former slaves. Even though the educational system was for everyone. But Booker's emphasis was to educate the newly freed slaves. Tuskegee Institute started off with a first grade and went all the way to college level graduates.